and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of The Weekly Beat. My name is Dumi Jere, coming to you from Johannesburg in South Africa. As always, my sister with me, Maggie Omotesi, coming to us this time from Accra in Ghana.
Yeah,
Maggie,
Dumi,
what
I knew
are you
I knew
doing
you're
in
gonna
Ghana?
get stuck. I mean, it's obviously we said economies are open now. We are up and about, looking for business,
Yeah.
and it's the beautiful view of Accra. So even when we were setting up, I was like, I need to show a little bit of the Accra land. So, how
I
are you?
can
How is
see.
Johannesburg?
Are they building behind you there? Like, is it a building coming up?
Yeah, it is actually finished, but it reminds me so much of Senegal. Like there's so much construction going on, big offices, big infrastructure projects, and it's amazing. I hadn't been in Ghana for the past 5 years. Last time I was there was 2016. So seeing this, actually over 6 years, seeing this is quite impressive.
All right,
How we
nice.
can
Well, I guess Africa is on the rise.
Yeah, and we are, as we always say, looking for wherever the opportunity is. Isn't that what we speak about every day here?
That's what the Weekly Beat is about, after all.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what it's about.
Yeah.
And speaking of opportunities, Maggie, last week, on the last episode, I had some things to say about the Chogam meeting that was
So did I.
happening in Rwanda.
So you can collectively say we had so much to say about the Chogam happening in Rwanda.
Well, I was trying to be politically correct here. But yes, I wasn't too optimistic. Let me put it that way. And usually on this show, I'm usually optimistic when it comes to Africa. But on the last episode, I wasn't necessarily that optimistic because I was like, what exactly are these folks going to talk about at this Commonwealth meeting for heads of state? And on this week's episode of the Weekly Beat, ladies and gents, we just want to touch a bit more on the outcomes from that Chogam summit, let's call it, that happened in Kigali, Rwanda, the whole of last week. Maggie, what are one or two highlights for you that stand out from the conversations that happened in Kigali?
Yeah, obviously, and to say the least to me, I think one of the reasons as to why we even do the Weekly Beats beyond just informing our audience is also accountability, like follow-ups like these. Like if we talk about a story and there's something that actually develops as we move forward, the story is important to keep the audience at par or up to date with some of the things that happen. And whereas obviously because of the colonial past, we are all very skeptical when it comes to free money, when it comes to aid, when it comes to being part of organizations that we feel shouldn't exist anymore. But on the other hand, it's also the global world where we've become a village. Obviously, you need partnerships, you need all of this. And sometimes because organizations have history or countries, maybe it's always easier for our people to really foster or, partnerships and trade other than restarting new kind of relationships. And this is what we've seen in the past week in Rwanda. For me, I think one of the biggest things that came out, and not because I'm Rwandan, was the fact that President Kagame became the chair of the Commonwealth Heads of State, the Commonwealth Secretariat, it's rather Commonwealth organization itself. And the reason as to why that excites me is because he's been known for results delivery. The 1 year he was the chair of the African Union, we saw so much move. I think at the time they had even proposed a 0.2% levy tax on all imports coming into Africa to help in terms of cutting down on dependence. Rather on dependence on other nations, and be able to fund the African Union, because the whole idea was if you want to move forward, you got to be self-sufficient. You can't be demanding freedom when somebody feeds you. You have to find ways to feed yourself. And one of the things they had pushed forward was a 0.2% levy tax, I think, on imports in 2017 or 17 when he was chair. something that really never went through. I mean, lots of discussions that happened. And he was also pushing for a lot of nations to pay their debt, because they pay a membership to be part of the organization. But if you go deeper, and I think this is a conversation we can touch on later, a lot of countries actually owe the African Union, but they expect it to deliver. But how do you deliver when you don't have resources, especially financial resources? So seeing the fact that he's actually becoming the chair of the Commonwealth, I expect results. I expect some good to come out of it, because we've seen him deliver in terms like this, and I think there's an opportunity to change that entire narrative that it's a Commonwealth organization. It could actually be one way to to form these partnerships far away from just Africa, and be able to trade with other countries beyond the continent. It's a global village. So that's one. And then also, I think Boris Johnson announced the preferential trade system for 65 developing countries. I hope you delve that deep into it. But I read somewhere, and these were some of the things announced. I think the British International Investment is putting 160 million pounds into hydropower in Africa. And they're hoping to create about 180,000 jobs, in different sectors. We're talking about clean technology. We're talking about power. I think one of the things they focused on was generating electricity for a lot of people. But let's not forget, Dumi, as well, that Britain is a free agent now.
Yes,
Brexit. It Brexited.
Yep.
It needs friendships. It needs partners. And I don't think Europe discusses all of this. Europe is at war with each other, and Russia and everybody else. I mean, there is a chance to look elsewhere. And I think this is a new start, a new beginning. It could be a new beginning of a new chapter. But let's not get too optimistic. I see you're smiling. I mean, I just want to go a little bit slow.
I'm always smiling. Come on.
No, until we see some kind of results, we can never be sure. But like I say, every big deal, every big investment starts with a conversation and commitments like these. And I don't think Rwanda is the kind of a country where you make commitments and they don't follow up. It's a small country, but with big ambitions. So I think these are things I really want to see come to light. And obviously, the several private sector players from different Commonwealth countries that traveled within East Africa, I hope there is something they were able to pick up. So for me, those are the two things that really stood out for me: commitment of money of that magnitude to projects like in clean technology or in electricity. For me, means a lot. But also, the biggest one is having President Kagame at the helm. It can't change a lot. You know that everything starts with that head, the leadership, the person at the helm. To let's see what he can do.
Speaking of him taking over the leadership of the organization, I like what he said in his closing speech, where he was like, as far as values are concerned, we don't need any lessons from the BBC or anyone. I'm like, okay, President Kagame, we see you. We see you. So I like the stance that he's taking, and we'll be looking for the next 2 years to see what how he can hold all these other leaders that made commitments to any bilateral trade agreements and everything. So yes, I am also very much looking forward to that. For me, there's almost something that stood out for me. You at COP26 last year in Glasgow, in Scotland, these nations, UK, well, the rest of Europe, US, the works, they paid a lot of money to countries like South Africa so that South Africa could close down its coal supply because it's not necessarily clean energy. And granted, they didn't. At the time, they didn't foresee the war in Russia and between Russia and Ukraine happening. And so they thought perhaps the world was safe. And then, in the wake of Russia cutting down, or rather stopping, any exports
Oil.
of natural gas to all of these countries, then you see countries like Germany, UK, and all of those guys coming back to
To
say,
South Africa.
guys, we now need the coal that we, that coal that we said is dirty. We now need it because, like, we don't have
It's not
anything
as
right now.
dirty. It's not as dirty as we thought. We can still use it. Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, I guess it's tough times, and tough times call for tough measures, I suppose. Hopefully, it doesn't go on for too long, because this is something that we are trying to, phase out for the sake of our climate. Because if we don't, we've got a real big crisis from a climate change perspective.
Absolutely.
I was also listening to the speech by Boris Johnson, and he was talking about how the UN estimates about 48 million people that are going to be pushed into hunger this year alone. That's 2022, to the point of starvation, and all of this is being caused by climate change, and obviously the post-pandemic shortage supply caused by the war in Ukraine. So, from a climate change perspective, you can see, like, it's almost like conflicting statements. On the one hand, we really want to go clean energy and care for the earth, and do our bit in reducing carbon emissions. On the other hand, because Russia has cut us out, we are now firing back our coal plants. So you're like, okay, where does that leave the rest of us? But personally, I've always wanted to go to Jamaica.
Hey.
Yeah, because I enjoy the music. I enjoy
Nobody can
dancehall,
stop
raga,
reggae.
soca.
You're gonna go for sure.
Yeah. So one of the good things that came out of these bilateral conversations that were being held between the various foreign affairs ministers and trade ministers and all of those and all of those guys was the fact that the Jamaicans, I think they signed an agreement to explore Rwanda Air going to Jamaica.
I know a lot of people that are gonna fly every Christmas.
Of course. It will make life easy. So I'll just fly from Joburg to Kigali, from Kigali straight to Kingston town.
Direct flight. Anyway, yeah, that's
so I wanted to just touch on that point, because I remember, like, in the last episode, we were like, we've never seen, like, for example, trade that goes on between Jamaica and Zambia. So I guess this, we stand corrected now. We've seen an example of an agreement between Jamaica and an African country, in this case, Rwanda. So, hey, I suppose it was not all just talk and just people wasting their time. I guess there were really fruitful discussions that happened, and positive things that came out of those discussions, for which we need to applaud the people, and shout out to Rwanda, actually, for putting up together, like, such an immaculate summit. Everybody was well hosted. The place was safe. No incidences, nothing. That's very commendable. That's very commendable. Shout out to everyone in Rwanda who participated and made sure that this thing, like, went smoothly.
I mean, I know that we are running out of time, but you mentioned something very important, and I thought I could jump in before you close it up.
Yeah.
For me, I think there's a statement Boris Johnson made when he said that the AfCFTA could generate more capital than Africa could ever receive in international aid. And the mere fact that he can, even the people like him or countries that give aid can recognize that, which we've been talking about, that we need mutual respect in terms of trade. Don't just give us aid, but can we trade fairly and find ways where we could mutually respect each other, what we bring on the table. That way, build lasting, sustainable partnerships and relations than just being dependent on you. I thought that was really amazing and commendable. And I feel like it's a new chapter that we really absolutely have to be grateful for. I'm really excited, Domi.
True. I think you're spot on that one. It's also something I picked up from his speech, that he didn't come with the talk of aid. He came with talk of, we want to trade with you. This is how much we've got in our coffers. This is how much we want to spend. Let's all trade together. We've got the money. We need the resources that you folks have. So that was good. So, hey, I think all is well. That ends well.
And we'll see you in Jamaica soon.
Yes. We're going to Kingston Town very soon. And see the place where Bob Marley grew up in. But folks, I'm afraid we're running heavy on time, as my good brother Arnold will say. And we're going to have to leave it here for this week. In case you missed anything, in case you need to find out more about current affairs and news that is going on the African continent, please log on to our website, mansamedia.africa, for anything that you may have missed. Also, please follow our social media channels on TikTok, particularly on TikTok. We're really doing wonderful work on TikTok. And TikTok is really coming up. Like, I actually am beginning to like it. It's just like, you just watch a video for like 2 minutes and you're already so informed. Yes, please, folks, look out for us on TikTok, Mansa Media. What else am I leaving out? Yes, please subscribe to our newsletter coming out every Friday called The Third Opinion, where we give you our snippets of what's going on during the week. Folks, on that note, we're going to have to leave it here. I am Dumi Jere, coming to you from South Africa, and from Maggie, coming to us from Ghana. Here's to peace and profits.